Hey, this is Kendra with Signing Agent Basics, and in this video, I'm going to talk about slow payment and no payment by contracting companies. So as a signing agent, you are going to be working as an independent contractor with a lot of different signing companies, title companies, and other contracting companies. And the arrangements for your payment will be made directly between you and that company that contracts you. Now, in a perfect world, everybody should do exactly what they're supposed to do. And in a perfect world, everyone should pay you like they said they were going to pay you. But the reality is that there is a small chance that a company may pay you slowly, which means they will take longer than the time that they said they were going to take to send you payment, or they may not even pay you at all. Now, I know for a lot of new signing agents, this can obviously be a big concern, but again, guys, there are ways to avoid working with slow payment and no payment companies. And there's things that you can do once you see that a company is either being slow to pay you or haven't paid you at all. And I'm going to go over some of those things with you guys in this video. But before I do, I want to hear from you. New signing agents, is slow payment or no payment a concern of yours and maybe one of the reasons why you are hesitant about becoming a signing agent? Veteran signing agents, have you experienced slow payment or even no payment by contracting companies? And if so, what have you done to handle it? Go down into the comments section, guys, right now and let me know. And no matter what, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. So guys, the first thing I'm going to talk about in this video is ways to totally avoid slow pay and no pay companies, because of course, we don't even want to deal with those companies at all. So guys, I already have a few videos where I talk to you about contracting company scams and how to avoid those companies flat out. Of course, you know, I'm going to go ahead and put a link to one of those videos for you up at the top of the screen. Make sure that you check it out. But my first piece of advice to avoid slow pay and no pay companies is to realize that if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Again, guys, in a perfect world, every company would be perfectly ethical and they would all do exactly what they say they are going to do. But just like anything else, when it comes to contracting companies, signing companies, there's some good ones, and unfortunately, there are a few bad apples in the bunch. So one of the things that some of those bad companies will do is they will try to take advantage of new signing agents. They understand that you're new to this, you're excited about any opportunity to get a signing, and some bad companies will prey on that excitement. These companies may call you up with fantastic sounding offers like, hey, we want you to do 10 signings for us over the next 2 days. Or they may offer to pay you 2 and 3 times the normal amount for a loan signing. And they know that as a new signing agent, you're going to be excited for any opportunity, and more than likely you will jump on those opportunities. But what those companies do is they will have you perform several signings really quickly before their payment terms come to pass. And then when their payment terms, let's say it's 30 days, does come to pass, they end up not paying you. And by that point, you have already performed several signings. You may be several $100s, if not $1,000 or more in the hole with this company that ends up not paying you. So if you hear from a contracting company and their offer sounds way too good to be true, before you accept too many signings from them, make sure that you do the next things that I'm going to discuss. So the next thing that you can do to avoid slow pay and no pay companies is to do your research. Guys, before I complete any assignments for any company, I do my research about that company to try to find out if any other signing agents have had any slow pay or no pay issues. The easiest way to do that is simply Google that business name. If there's complaints out there about the business, it'll probably come up in a Google search. You can also do a search for the business on the Better Business Bureau. Again, if other people have filed complaints about slow payment or no payment with the Better Business Bureau for this company, you will be able to see it there. And I always suggest doing a search in notary signing agent forums and notary signing agent Facebook groups. In most forums and Facebook groups, you'll see a little magnifying glass icon, which is basically the way that you search all of the information that is in that forum or in that group. I would just type the name of the particular company that I'm looking to work for in that search and find out if any other signing agents have had any complaints about slow payment or no payment from that company. Because guys, look, if they haven't paid other signing agents, odds are they're not going to pay you. The next way that you can avoid slow payment or no payment is to not complete too many assignments for any particular company until they have paid you for the first signing. Again, guys, don't be tempted to do multiple signings for a brand new signing company or contracting company that is basically untested with you. Do one, maybe two signings, and then I personally wait to see if the company pays me within their payment terms for those first one or two signings before I complete another signing for them. That way, if they are a slow pay or a no pay company, I'm not out too much money. Now, if you do the type of search that I suggested before about the company and everything that you hear about the company is great, signing agents say that they get paid quickly or on time with that company, then you may be willing to do more than one or two signings for them. But if it's a company that you haven't gotten any reviews on, nothing comes back in the Google search, nothing comes back on the Better Business Bureau, no other signing agents has worked with them, I would say hold off doing a lot of signings for them until they have a history of paying you on time. The next thing that you can do to kind of protect yourself against slow pay or no pay companies is to make sure that you hang on to any pertinent information about the signings that you've completed for that company until after you have received your payment. Make sure that you hang on to the confirmation with the information about the signing, the payment terms. Make sure that you hang on to any communication that shows how much they were supposed to pay you and the time frame in which they were supposed to pay you. I would also suggest hanging on to the information about who the title company is, who the escrow officer is, who the loan officer is, and who the lender is until after you have received payment from that particular company. And again, guys, once you start working with a company and they show a good history of getting payments to you on time, you won't have to be as strict about hanging on to this information. But for companies that are new, that you haven't worked for before, and that don't have a pay history with you, I would definitely make sure to hang on to all of this information because it may prove itself to be helpful in the future if that company is paying you slowly. Another important thing that you'll need to make sure to do to avoid slow payment or no payment is to make sure that you are aware of the payment terms for that company. Different companies pay in different time frames. Some may pay in 30 days, some may pay in 45 or 60 days. Some may pay on a certain day on the following month after you've completed the signing. every company has its own payment terms. So it'll be very important for you to know how the particular company that you are working with plans to pay you and on which terms they're planning on paying you. It'll also be important for you to know how they're going to pay you, whether it will be by check, by e-check, or some other method. All of the terms of how the company is supposed to pay you should be in writing and provided to you before you complete an assignment. Make sure that you get all of this information from the contracting company before you complete any assignments from them. And make sure that you are okay with all of these terms. If a company says that they don't pay until 60 to 90 days after the closing, I personally would not complete that assignment. I personally require payment within 30 days of completing the assignment. Now, whether you are okay with accepting payment terms that are 60 or 90 days out is totally up to you. But the bottom line is, make sure that you are aware of what those terms are and you are okay with those terms. You'll also need to make sure that you provide any documentation that the contracting company requires in order to pay you. Just about every company will require that you provide them with a W9 for tax reporting purposes, and many companies will not pay you until they have received that W9 from you. Now, on that W9, you will need to provide either your social security number or an employer ID number. I suggest you get an employer ID number, and if you don't know what an employer ID number is, no worries, I got you. I got a video talking all about that. Make sure that you check it out. There's a link for that video up at the top of the screen. But again, guys, make sure that you provide the contracting company with any information or documentation that they need to pay you. Along with the W9, some companies do require that you submit an invoice to them. Other companies just require that you do a completion report either in SnapDocs or on their website. Make sure that you read the contracting company's instructions carefully and follow those instructions to the letter so that your payment is not delayed. Okay, so what do you do then if you've done all of those other things, but you complete an assignment for a contracting company and they have not paid you in the agreed upon terms? Well, the first thing you'll need to do when you reach out to the contracting company to ask about the status of the payment is make sure that you are polite. While it can be a little bit unsettling to not receive payment from a company when you are expecting it, just because you haven't received the payment doesn't mean that the company is not trying to pay you. It could have been an honest oversight by the contracting company, or it could have been because you did not provide them with all of the required information, or your payment literally could have gotten lost in the mail. So when you first reach out to a contracting company because you have not received payment, remember to stay calm and to stay polite. I personally contact them by phone call and I send an email to make sure that I have a written trail of all communications. And when I first reach out to them to ask about the status of my payment, I'll usually say something like, hey, I just wanted to check on the status of the payment for this signing that I did on this particular date. I don't see that I've received it. By saying it that way, you're not accusing the contracting company of not paying you. You are acknowledging the fact that, hey, they might have sent the payment, but you just don't see that you've received it. Remember, guys, you catch more flies with honey than you do vinegar. That just means the polite approach is always the best first approach. I've had times where I thought a company was trying not to pay me, but they had paid me by e-check, and the email for the e-check got stuck in my spam box or my junk email box. And I've had times where companies have mailed me out a check, but They might have put it in the wrong envelope or put the wrong address on the check, so it just hadn't reached me yet because it had gotten lost in the mail. I always try to give companies the benefit of the doubt when I first reach out to them to check on the status of payment. The next thing you'll want to do when you are checking on the status of your payment is make sure that you are reaching out to the correct department. Some contracting companies have a separate accounting department that handles sending out payments to signing agents. It won't do you any good to call or email their scheduling department if you are checking on the status of your payment. So again, guys, in the information that you first received from the contracting company, it should have told you who to contact regarding any questions on payment. If it didn't, then go ahead, contact the scheduling department or whoever sent you out the confirmation previously and ask them, hey, I just want to check on my payment. Who do I need to talk to about that? The next thing you'll want to do if you have not yet received your payment is to send the company an invoice along with another copy of your W-9. So again, not all companies require invoices, but when I'm checking on the status of my payment, I do go ahead and create an invoice and send that invoice in to the contracting company. And again, pretty much every company that you work with is going to require a W-9. So I go ahead and send that W-9 along with my invoice, so that way they can't say, well, we haven't sent you payment yet because we don't have your W-9. So when you send or resend your invoice along with a copy of your W-9, it should provide the contracting company with everything they need to get your payment sent out. And another thing that you'll want to do when you have not yet received your payment is to make sure that you keep good notes of everyone that you speak with regarding the status of your payment. Obviously, keep any email communication that you send and receive from the contracting company regarding the status of your payment. And if you speak to someone on the phone, make sure that you make notes about the conversation, notate the day that you spoke with them, the time that you spoke with them, that person's name, and if they have an extension number. So that way you have a clear record of all of the communication that you've attempted with that company to collect your payment. Okay, so what if you do all of those things and you still don't receive payment from that particular company? Well, the first thing you should do is continue to call and email. I would personally call and email 2 or 3 times a week, like every other day, to check on the status of the payment. So guys, look, I know you're going to be upset about not having received your payment and having to contact this company over and over again to check on the status of your payment. But no matter how frustrated you get, the first thing that you'll want to do is always remain professional. Always keep your cool, guys. Always remain professional and never use profanity. The next thing you can do if you still have not received payment from the contracting company is to contact the title company if you received the signing through a signing service. Now, do not demand payment from the title company. The title company is not responsible for paying you. The title company is only responsible for paying the signing company, and then the signing company is responsible for paying you. So when you contact the title company, you are not contacting them threatening them to pay you, because that is not their responsibility. However, I suggest contacting the title company and just letting them know politely that the signing service that they chose to use did not pay you. Now, this is no guarantee that you're going to receive payment. However, it may make the title company think twice about using that signing service in the future. And if the title company does happen to contact the signing company to ask them, hey, why haven't you paid this signing agent? It may apply a little pressure to the signing company to prompt them to go ahead and send you your payment. But again, guys, if you receive the signing from a signing company, never demand payment from the title company. Again, it is not the title company's responsibility to pay you. The title company pays the signing company, and then it's the signing company's responsibility to pay you. So the next thing you can do if you still haven't received payment is to register a complaint against the company on the Better Business Bureau. You can also leave a negative review about the company on their Google page. And you can also leave a negative post about the company in signing agent forums and signing agent Facebook pages. This will help to warn other signing agents to not use this company when they do a search about the company to find out whether or not they have a history of slow payment or no payment. But guys, make sure that when you do this, you state the facts and only the facts. Again, I know you're probably going to be upset that you haven't received payment. You're probably going to have a lot of not so nice things to say about this company, but keep it professional at all times. Just list the facts and the details about what happened. Keep it totally professional and do your best to keep your emotions out of it. Now, the next steps I'm going to talk about if you still haven't received payment from a contracting company are all collection efforts. The National Notary Association has a very helpful article with steps and collection letters that you can use to help collect a debt. I've got a link to that NNA article down in the description box of this video. Make sure that you check it out. So the first thing that you're going to want to do in your collection efforts is to send actual collection letters. If you can send those registered mail or through some method that can be tracked or with a signature confirmation, that would be great, because that way you will have actual proof that you sent these letters out and they have been received by the company. Again, check out the webpage on the NNA that I have the link for down in the description box. It gives you several different collection letters that you can use from the beginning to the end of the collection process. The next thing that you can do is actually hire a collection company to help you collect this debt. Now, I don't have a particular company that I can recommend or refer you to, but if you just do a Google search for collection companies for small businesses, several different options will pop up. Do your research, and if you feel like there's a company that can help you out, definitely do so. The next thing that you can do is take the contracting company that hasn't paid you to small claims court. Now, the process for taking a company to small claims court is obviously going to be different in every state and possibly every county. So make sure that you do your research and accurately follow the steps to successfully take the contracting company to small claims court to try to retrieve your payment. And then the last thing that you can do if you still haven't received payment after all of this is to simply write it off as a bad debt loss. You will want to make sure to keep track of any non-payment or bad debt that you have, and then talk to your tax professional, because those bad debt items may be able to be counted off on your taxes as a possible benefit to you. But again, guys, I am not an accountant. I am not a tax professional. So make sure that you speak with your tax professional to find out exactly what you need to do as far as bad debt is concerned on your taxes. So guys, I did want to tell you a little bit about my experiences as far as slow payment and no payment goes. Because I followed the tips that I listed in this video, I honestly have very few instances of slow payment and no payment. Again, guys, I always do my research with any new company that I'm looking to work with to see if any other signing agents have any complaints about slow payment or no payment with that company. And I've even told companies, hey, I don't want to work with you because I've seen several other signing agents say that you guys pay slowly or you don't pay at all. Now, I have still had some instances of slow payment and no payment. And honestly, guys, after I've gone through the steps of calling and emailing and sending them a few letters, I personally just write it off as bad debt. At a certain point, it's just not worth it to spend all of this time following up with a company that really just isn't going to pay you. So after I've done those things, after I've called, after I've emailed, after I've sent letters, I personally just write it off as bad debt. And I personally have never taken a company to a small claims court. Because guys, look, small claims court isn't free, at least not here in the county that I'm in Texas. You have to pay money to file that claim and to be seen by a judge. Now, you can win in small claims court, but just because you win in small claims court doesn't mean you actually get paid. Really, what happens is a judgment is filed against that company, and the judgment basically just says, yes, this company owes you money. This company should pay you. But that doesn't mean that you actually get paid. So to me, it just wasn't worth the risk of paying to take a company to small claims court just to get a judgment and then still end up not getting paid. But I also never allowed myself to get more than 1 or 2 signings in the hole with any company. So yes, while being out $100 to $300 does suck, it really wasn't a big enough deal to make it worth going to small claims court for me. Now guys, I know for you new signing agents, the thought of no payment or slow payment may totally freak you out. But again, I don't want to discourage any of you from becoming signing agents. If you follow the steps and the tips that I've listed in this video, the odds are slow payment and no payment really won't be that big a deal for you. And trust me guys, the benefits of being a signing agent far outweigh the possibility of the occasional slow payment or no payment. So guys, was this video helpful? Do you now have a better idea of what to do to avoid slow payment or no payment? If so, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up right now. And if you need help training or mentoring to become a productive and profitable signing agent, make sure to check out my Signing Agent Advanced training program. I've got a link for you up at the top of the screen, and there's also information down in the description box. And if you are not already following me on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook, make sure that you do that today. Links to all of my socials are also down in the description box. No matter what, go ahead and hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and then hit the notification bell so you'll be notified every week for my new videos. This is Kendra with Signing Agent Basics, hoping that you have a productive and profitable day.